What's going on, guys? I'm back with another one. And I just watched a movie called The Banshees of Inisherin, starring Colin Farrell, of course, Brendan Gleeson. That's two different popular names mixed up. And Carrie Condon. First of all, I want to take some time to pay homage to the legendary Colin Farrell. All right, it's been a long time coming. He's been in the game for a long period of time, and it's just due. This is just due. All right. In 2001, a movie called American Outlaws came out. Now, I almost forgot about this movie. That was a long time ago now. That's a long time ago, 2000, okay? And if you don't watch the movie or even heard of it, you're not even going to know he's even in the movie, okay? You don't know who that is. You're first watching it. And yes, he had movies in the 90s, like the late 90s, but you know, this is the one I recognized him first in, okay? Then in 2002, Phone Booth came out. Now, Phone Booth was a big deal. This was a game changer. This was when they were trying to think of different creative ways to bring the action to you. All right, this guy was in a phone booth the entire movie, and stuff was just going on around him. And he had to stay in that booth and not come out, or even worse things would happen. All right, and Colin Farrell played the hell out of that role. All right, he made you believe he was really in some danger. He really had no other choice but to stay in that damn booth. All right, and it was different. It was a very different movie for me. Okay, then later on that year, Minority Report came out. Now, a lot of y'all, like myself, will forget that he was even in that movie, because that's a Tom Cruise thing. Okay, when you say Minority Report, you think Tom Cruise, Mr. Show Me the Money. You think that. You don't think Colin, but he's in there. Okay, Colin has this thing of kind of sneaking into some movies, and then when you realize he's in the movie, he does such a great job of standing out. You know, he's one of those actors. All right, I've spoken about actors like this before. Well, he's one of those. He's one of those that sometimes might steal the role. He might steal that role if given a chance. Okay. Then in 2003, Daredevil came out. Now, this is the movie where Colin Farrell really showed his acting chops. He showed what he was really about. He was playing Bullseye. Now, Bullseye is a comic book character in Marvel. All right, he's a common enemy of Daredevil. And Colin was the only one who could really bring this to life. All right, he was the first one. I have yet to see the Bullseye in the Daredevil TV show. You know, don't hate me for that. But as far as I know, Colin Farrell was the one. This is the Irish character. Colin's Irish. All right. I hate to say it like that, but yes, Colin Farrell killed that. He was so confident in the skills he had. He was so confident, and Colin Farrell made you believe that he really could do that. Once again, okay? Then later on down that year, SWAT came out. Now, this is another great movie with a fantastic soundtrack. You know, I love those. And it's an action movie. Okay? I believe LL Cool J was in there too. Yeah, he did his thing. And you know, but Colin Farrell was one of the main, most important characters to that movie. All right? Exciting from beginning to end. That it never seemed to disappoint, that movie. You know, if you want to be entertained from the beginning of the movie to the credits, that's the movie to go for. If you really love action like that. That has you. that has you. Okay? Then in 2004, Alexander came out. Now, this is around an era where a whole lot of these medieval movies were coming out, or warrior or Roman time movies like, Gladiator and Troy. So I guess Colin Farrell said, I got to jump in on this too. I got a Gladiator movie too. All right? And I want to show you what I can do. Now, I barely remember how this movie went. I know there was some questionable, crazy things going on in that movie. But there was some pure action in it as well. All right. Of course. Blood, guts. It's a warrior type, gladiator type, medieval type, whatever type movie. And so, he put his in. He put his in for the count. All right. Then in 2006, Miami Vice came, or the movie remake of Miami Vice came out with Colin Farrell and Jamie Foxx. Now, I hate to say it. This is where Colin started to kind of lose me. All right, the original show was cool. But Colin Farrell and Jamie Foxx, I don't think they really did a fantastic job of making you remember this movie, or bringing nostalgia back, at least from the show or anything like that. It just, it was a cash grab. Not a bad movie, just not memorable like that. All right. But then in 2011, Horrible Bosses came out, and Colin Farrell was now trying to show you he can make you laugh. All right. He was one of the bosses. He was the boss's, I believe, son, who no one could stand at the workplace. He was just an idiot, a freaking idiot out throughout the whole movie. All right. That movie, by the way, is hilarious. That and Part 2, both good movies. And Colin Farrell did a great job of just cracking me up. Okay. I had no idea Colin Farrell could be that funny, but he is. He did it. He did that. And so he came right back into the trenches of a good actor and what a good entertainer is all about. All right. Then later on that year, Fright Night came out. Now, this is where Colin Farrell can show you that he can also do horror. It's the remake of a classic, of course. But this remake wasn't that bad. In my opinion, it wasn't that bad, okay? Not as scary as the original, but very entertaining. Colin Farrell was surprisingly a great vampire. He was a good vampire in that one. So I enjoyed it. There was some other characters, actors in there that I was shocked were in there and did the job that they did. And so I was satisfied. With that film, at least. Okay? And ever since then, Colin's had other movies that I haven't seen. I know some I have seen, but there's a long list. It's too long of a list, actually, for me to complete all of that. Okay, honestly. And there are some like Widows and The Gentleman, but I could do a part 2 of that list later down the line. And then there's other films that Colin was in between all this that I would love to see. He's that good of an actor. He's in so many good movies that you don't even know exist. All right. He's always picking a different kind of movie to go into. He doesn't really stick with the same kind of trope as far as the role he's put in for. All right. He's not a typecast. He's no typecast. Trust that. All right. And now we have the Banshees of Inisherin. And my question is, does this movie belong in this list of his greats? We're about to find out. Let's go. The Banshees of Inisherin. For those who don't know, for those who are not aware, honestly, if you don't have HBO Max, you're not going to know what's going on. You're not going to know what I'm even talking about right now. Possibly. All right. And that's kind of a sad thing, because a lot of the HBO bound movies should advertise themselves a little stronger than that outside of the HBO Max realm. But they don't. They really don't. So I'm going to let you pass this time. I'm going to let you pass. The Banshees of Inisherin. It's pretty much about this character, played by Colm, named Pedrick, who's so used to getting up, doing the same routine every day, going to the pub to see his buddy Colm. All right. But instead, on this day, he goes to visit his buddy, and his buddy completely and totally ignores him. He knocks on the door, no answer. Knocks again, no answer. Ignores him. So Pedrick goes to the pub, all right? Waits for him there. Comes in, or I think he's already there. And Colm gets up, tells him, don't sit by me, and goes to the other side of the bar. And from there on, Pedrick is constantly trying to figure out, why won't Colm be my friend anymore? Why does he not want to be my friend? It's the mystery of the movie. It's broken down. It's found out later on. But for the most part, it's the mystery. Why won't he be friends with him anymore? What has happened? What has changed in his life to want to separate himself from Pedrick? And that's the premise of the movie. Seriously. Positives. This had some of the best dark humor I've seen in such a long ass time. Okay. There are so many quick jokes and just slick lines throughout the movie that you'll catch them. You'll catch them. If you're not paying attention, maybe you won't. But I'm too good with this. I'm too good. I caught all those slick jokes. And there's a lot of dark humor, of course, in here as well. As the movie progresses, it gets darker and it gets darker. I enjoyed that transition from the light to the night. Okay, we're starting off a little light here. And then later on, we're going to throw some jokes at you. You're going to be like, ooh, that was kind of deep. That was kind of deep. And then it just gets crazy. Fingers get cut off. Fingers get cut off. I won't say how or why. Fingers get cut off. All right. You just have to find out what's going on with that. Okay. So that was just insane. That was insane for the film. All right. Then another positive. I'm sorry. The Irish dialect, if I'm saying that right. It was the way that the characters spoke for me. Okay, the way they presented themselves and they spoke to the audience, and the things that the characters said throughout the movie, which was a common thing amongst most of the characters, like saying "like" at the end of some of their sentences. You know what I'm saying? And just the way they spoke, and certain words they said. Okay. And anyways, just certain words they said on the film that it made me question, well, is this how they actually speak over in Ireland? I don't know. I've never been to Ireland. I'm not Irish. You know, but the way they're speaking and talking is very interesting. Okay? I enjoyed that. Another positive. The pet symbolism. There was a sort of symbolism within this film that you have to catch on to. Pedrick has his pet donkey, and Colm has a loyal dog, all right, who's actually smarter than the donkey, which should tell you about the characters themselves. Should tell you about Colm and Pedrick. If you don't catch it, it's easy to catch. It's easy to catch. I'm not spoiling anything. It's obvious what's going on with that. All right, it's obvious. Okay, Colm is obviously the dog, and Pedrick is the donkey. He's the ass of the village. Okay? Plain and simple. Last positive. The meaning to it all. There was a very strong meaning to this movie. I don't want to say exactly what, because it will give away the mystery of why Colm won't talk to Pedrick. But you'll slowly catch on before it's even revealed, obviously. In my opinion, you'll catch on real quick to why he doesn't want to talk to him. You just have to watch the film very closely. You have to just kind of have common sense while watching this film. It'll be like, oh, it makes a lot of sense. And that doesn't also just go for those two characters. It goes for a lot of other characters in the movie as well. There's his sister, which is played by Carrie Condon, right? She's got some things going on in her life. She's a very lonely person, and she really needs a change of pace herself, okay? So there's a lot of character growth in here that has to happen, all right? And it's a huge meaning behind it all. Trust me, by the end of the movie, you'll get that very quickly. All right? Negatives. This might have been too slow of a pace for the film. Okay, I remember times where I was not even sleepy, and I was nodding off a little too much to be watching this. I was nodding off way too much for the film. Okay, so that's not good in certain points. All right, they need to pick up the pace. They need to pick up the pace with a film like this. All right, it doesn't need to drag so strongly. Okay, keep me interested through it out, and that's what I'm going to get to in a minute. All right, because my second negative is it needed more to the film. This needed a lot more to the movie than it had. Okay, I enjoy. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the humor, the dark humor, and the crazy things that escalated towards the end. I enjoyed all of that. But with a comedy, in my opinion, I'm always going to say that. In my eyes, a comedy still needs some excitement. All right? Put a little sex in it. You don't have to. You don't have to put sex in it. But something a little to the vulgar, with a comedy like this, something to the bit of the vulgar taste. Okay? It doesn't have to be all the way on the other side, all right? You don't have to be at a strip club or nothing like that. Well, I'm just saying, excite me. Excite me at certain edges of the movie. Give me some excitement. Entertain me a little bit. Entertain me besides the jokes. Entertain me on some other level as well. Please. Please. That's all I ask for. I need to see a bit of a raciness to this film. Okay? Please, it's not a grandpa watching this. There are gonna be young people watching this too. I'm not saying this pander to young people. I'm saying, you know what I'm saying though. Last negative. There's a certain character in here, and I can't even really call it a hatred. It's called Mrs. McCormick, and she was pretty much just the partner of death. All right, she's just a very morbid woman throughout the movie. Nobody liked when she came around. She didn't help out with anything. She didn't, contribute to their society. I want to put it like that. She was just a creepy woman who was repelled. She was repelled at every end. Like every time she came around, it was bad news or something of the negative nature that she was going to bring to the conversation, and no one liked her. I didn't like her. I wish that she would just perish somewhere. Okay? Go away. Go away. You're killing me. All right? But with that said, I have to give this, gotta give us an I. Yes, I'm giving this an I. Not an I, cool, an I. It was too slow. And it needed a lot of work in the entertainment department. All right? Press that like button. You better share and you better subscribe.